Hello everybody. Welcome back to our little tarot corner. Allie from Toe Tarot here, and I am here with what is possibly one of the greatest decks that I have owned as of yet. One of. I just got the Witch's Tarot, and this is the full 78 card edition by Burning Paper Hearts. Now, as you saw in the title, there is a big nudity warning in this deck. Lots of naked ladies here. So if that isn't your thing, I tried to, give an ample warning, but if it is, if you'd like to see this super raw, sexy, wild woman deck, stick around. All right, so let's dive in. So, as I said, this deck is from Burning Paper Hearts. I will leave their website linked below. Let's read the back of the box. So it says, The Witch's Tarot is a tarot art project by photographer and mixed media artist Chris Madsen, depicted in this collection as the Fool and Druid. There are lots of extra cards in this deck that we will obviously see. This deck captures the dark and mystic beauty of the female form alongside sacred symbology and strong emotional context. This special witch tarot deck includes 9 new archetypes. Here we go, he's going to list them out. Of the sacred feminine, the maiden, the mother, the crone, coven, ritual magic, burn at the stake, wax, wane, the druid, Hecate, Lilith, Hel, and Selene. So, beautiful presentation just to start with. This has a lovely texture, like you can feel it on the side of the box, and the whole box feels like rose petal, so it's that lovely soft texture. It's a nice sturdy magnetic closure box. Mine did get a little dinged in shipping right there, kind of on this corner, and a little on the front. You can kind of see it indented right there. But overall, it made it pretty well, and I'm not huge on the boxes anyway, so it doesn't bother me. You open it up, and it is this beautiful lunar wallpaper lining with some stars, and the sides are gold with a triple moon. You can see the magnets because, again, it's magnetic closure. And you've got the guidebook here, which we will get into later. I'm going to set the box aside for now. We will also get with the deck in a minute. So the guidebook, first of all, is also in that soft rose petal material. Each card has its own page with just a couple upright and reverse meanings, which I do appreciate. I'm not a huge guidebook person, so I don't like a ton of information. I just, quite honestly, I won't read it. And prime example, this is the Dreams of Gaia Tarot. I am fascinated by that workbook. I am not clueless of the fact that that is a very valuable asset when it comes to that deck. However, I found it too much, so I actually rehomed my larger version because I got the pocket edition as well, and I use the pocket edition as kind of like more like an oracle, because that little guidebook that fits in the box with those cards is like 4 or 5 words for each card, so it's more oracle, and that to me is easier to digest than like this big guidebook. Sometimes I just find them overwhelming. Tangent over. Sorry. So as you can see, it is edged in matte black, and the backs are this golden silver moon wand triple moon pattern. And again, the whole deck is that soft rose petal finish. Like, I have to say, this is one of the best handling decks that I've had. It is rose petal and soft, but as you can see, it has no issues fanning. It's very easy to shuffle, like the core of it. It's very, thin, but, you're able, it snaps right back. So it's amazing for shuffling, and I will show you at the end here, we'll riffle it. But, okay, enough about that. Let's get into the cards. So I'm going to zoom us in here. Okay, so again, we'll start with the Fool. And this again is the creator, Chris. Magician. I love the art style on this deck because not only is it photography mixed media like they said, but you can tell it also is like aged and made to look vintage. I am all about that. We have our High Priestess. The thing about this deck that I found, because this is not a first impressions, I've actually got it a couple days ago and I've been working with it, is it's not, you're not looking at a Rider-Waite-Smith here. The meanings are there, but it is way more of an intuitive deck, I find, with lots of space for you to feel the cards rather than just rely on your knowledge of the Rider-Waite system, you know, Empress meanings. Like, for instance, this is a good one to talk about. So you see, we have our figure here, and she's got what looks like a crown of kind of like trees, maybe. And she's kind of got her face partially obscured. So you don't see her in a wheat field or pregnant or with children or with a bunch of animals surrounding her like we see in the Empress card a lot. So Raecine over at Owl Moon 513, I want to say, also recently did a walkthrough of this deck, and she kind of summed it up when she said, you know, this deck is way, way more, just like I said, I very much agreed with her when she said this, but it is very much more intuitive and up for you to feel out the cards and let them tell their story. Give them room to breathe. I think that's another reason why in the guidebook there's not a ton of information, so that you have the space with this deck. She is definitely one that will not hand you anything necessarily super easily. So I definitely don't think this is necessarily a beginner deck, but there's so much value in these cards and in these images that if you are a somewhat experienced tarot reader, if you're kind of intermediate, maybe if you kind of have a solid enough grasp on tarot, this is definitely a very, very powerful deck. And obviously if you're connected to kind of this you know, as I said earlier, this dark, raw, female kind of wild energy, this is definitely the deck for you. So here we have our Emperor card, which, I mean, you see that streak of red, and that kind of ties into Aries and Mars, and it's just, you have to give this deck, to echo Raecine again, you have to give this deck time to let her speak to you. This isn't one that you rush. This is one that you really sit with and kind of bask in her presence rather than you know, do a rush reading with her. You ask her to show you things and wait for her to respond rather than, you know, pull cards. I feel like with this deck. We have our Hierophant. You can see on her dress she's got kind of an outline of a city, or possibly like a little citadel there. The Lovers. Chariot. I love this Chariot card. I love the pops of color that are in this deck. It's not I mean, it is somewhat jarring, but in the best way. It's not overdone, I don't think. It's just incredible. I'll probably repeat myself a lot in this video, and I apologize in advance, but this deck is just so, so good. Here we have the Justice card, like she's all open and scarred there. Look at this Hermit card. I mean, can you just not even? Wheel. I don't know. This deck is just, it gives me shivers, honestly. I love this Strength card. The Hanged Man. So again, you know, this goes back to what I was saying. It's not imagery that, you know, you're not looking at a person even upside down, but there's so much to be gained here. I love this Death card. I will just quietly kind of like flip through cards for a minute and just let you enjoy. Temperance. I say quietly. I'll you know, pop in when I want to. Dang it, this is my video. How dare you impose rules on me? Look at this Tower card. Goodness gracious me. Star. This moon card is absolutely everything. Look at how wild and just feral she is. And we still have the imagery of her kind of in the water, but it also almost kind of reminds me of like a big ballerina tutu. I don't know why. Ooh, get back there. Sun. Judgment. This card hurts. Definitely hurts a little bit. And the World. Okay, so now we've gone through the majors. These are the extra archetype cards. We have the Maiden. I'll actually kind of hold them up together. The Mother. My favorite of this little trio here, we have the Crone. So you can see this transition from, you know, this girl, this maiden who's completely clothed and she's all in white and she's very demure and, you know, devout almost. And then you get the Mother and she is just, she's shed all of that and she's a little bit more wild and she's trusting herself and she's really coming into who she is and existing in who she is. And then you have this Crone who is like the essence of both wilderness and knowledge and intuition and all the good things. I just, oh, it's so good. It's so good. Okay, and then we have Coven. And you can see that there are tiny little details here too in the card. They're not overly conspicuous, so they don't get in the way, but they just add more depth every time you look. And we have Ritual Magic. Did I miss one? No, okay. Burn at the Stake. Sorry if you can hear the TV in my background. It's Sunday and the boyfriend is of course watching Star Trek, so. Wax. Oh, here's another couple now that I think about it. And Wayne. Very, very gorgeous cards. And then here we have our Druid, which again is the creator of the deck. We have Hecate. Hecate, however you say it. And Lilith. Hell. Ooh. And Selene. Okay, so that is all of the major arcana and the 9 archetype cards. Now we'll get into the minors, so we'll start with Wands as per usual. I think this is the card that Raecine said she's got a print of in her home, and I am digging it. I can definitely see why that would be such a powerful piece. She almost looks like another magician. Like, yeah, I've got my wand, give me what I want. I may not know everything, but I'm in my power, let's go. It's kind of the vibe you get from this card, and I love it. And again, we have like the aged photograph look down there. Kind of some white specks there, like old photography. Here we have our 2. Three. 4. 5. Sorry, I just get lost in these cards. I'm weird because it's either like, okay, well, we'll be awkward and talk the whole time, or we will not say anything and just awkwardly stand here in silence where you'll be sure to hear the TV. So this is what we're doing. 7 of Wands. 8. 9. Look at this. It's so powerful. And the 10. All right. We have our Page. Striking. We have our Knight. We have our Queen. Now, again, I'm not I'm not trying to copy or steal opinions or anything like that from Raecine, but this is another one of those cards that she specifically talked about yesterday when I say yesterday, I watched it yesterday. When she was talking about in this card how, you know, it's not a typical Queen of Wands that you see on her throne holding a big wand with a big cat at her side with, you know, that very typical fiery Queen of Wands energy, right? We have a naked queen in the fetal position at the foot of this tiger. But the thing about it, the thing to kind of tap into here is what kind of vulnerability does it take to kind of surrender to that fire energy and to work with it and to work alongside it? Like, that's a very vulnerable position for her to be in, but she trusts that big cat. She trusts her fire, you know? She doesn't need to be in charge. She doesn't need to put on a show. She doesn't need to be dressed up because she is the queen. Bear and all. So, like, poof, I don't know. Mind blown, you know? And we have a King of Wands. Tiny bit more traditional. You know, we have her wielding a lot of flames. I love it, though. If you can't tell, this deck is just pretty incredible. The deck that I have, here are the 2 of Cups. We're in the cup suit now, by the way. I'm horrible. I'm sorry. The deck that I have that was close to kind of this wild, feral, pure woman embracing who you are type of energy is my Story Medicine Tarot. And I gotta tell you, this one, I don't know. It might kick her out of my collection, guys. I mean, this is the culmination of everything that I think I've been looking for in a truly like witchy, wild, let my nature run kind of deck. I have no words. This was started as a majors only deck, and now obviously there's this full version out, so I am so excited that we got a full deck. Look at this 5 of Cups, like the clouds over her eyes. So she's not really seeing, she's staying right there. You know, she's making no effort to move away. So you still get that imagery, but it's powerful without being crazy and showy, because it doesn't have to be. And that shows the skill, in my opinion, of the deck creator who created this deck. Like, to be able to give us all of this within simple photographs is, you know, a job well done. 8 of Cups, look at that. Looks like she's the ghost of herself. Crazy good, man. I just get chills every time I work with this deck or pull it out. I mean, again, you talk about using a deck that truly just brings it out of you. There's our Page of Cups. Look at that slight use of color there. The Knight. Queen. Finally, we have our King of Cups. Now we're in our sword suit. Two. Look at this Three of Swords. You can just feel the heartache there. And there's this little spot right here that looks like this whole photograph has been burnt through. Like, hello. And the use of that little fire there. It's like the world is on fire, which kind of appropriate. We have our Four Swords. 5. 6. And I assure you guys, I'm not really shaking the camera. These images are, you know, purposely blurry in some instances where like their face is moving or their body is in motion or it's kind of obscured. That is intentional. That's not me being a lousy videographer, although I am that as well. Here we have our Seven of Swords, and I love, I was raised, I think I've touched on this before. I was raised in a somewhat religious household. We went to church. We went to several different churches, actually. I was raised both Baptist and Catholic. And as I've gotten older, I've kind of found that the whole organized religion type of deal isn't necessarily for me. And so if you were in the same kind of boat, then this card really just it really does a number for you. 8 of Swords. 9. 10. And we have our Page. Oh, come here. Page. And again, I did warn you guys that there's lots of nudity in this deck, but I think it just serves a purpose. You know, it's very intentionally done, and I believe tastefully. I don't find this as a female presenting, individual. I don't find this offensive or gaudy or lacking in taste. I think it is very, very beautifully and admirably done for the female form, as it says on the box. So I love this Queen of Swords. I'm just gonna pause on her. Like, she's licking the fucking sword. Yes, ma'am. Ooh. Yes, ma'am. And the background here, like up by her face, it looks like a film strip. Like, God, I love this deck so much. And here we have our King. Look at that, another skull. Okay, and finally, are we on our last suit? Yes. All right, so let's finish strong here, kids. We have the Ace of Coins. 2. 3. 4. This one has a lot to it too, if you just sit and mull it over. You know, I can say again, just watching Raecine's video yesterday really brought to my attention things about this deck that I just love, and I can now definitely echo a lot of her sentiments when working with this deck myself. So I don't want to repeat everything she said, but 10. Finally, we have our courts. We have the Page, Knight, Queen, and last card in the deck, the image from the front of our deck box, the King of Coins. So, one thing about these though, excuse my hand grease there since I was holding it, that is the one thing about this deck, is that it holds your oils for a second. So I'll zoom out. I'll show you guys how well this shuffles. It really, when you riffle it, that's where it's at. Oh, of course, now that I'm on camera, I can't do it. Look at this flexibility. Like, amazing. Beautiful. So, let's do it one more time, and I'm going to forget about you guys and act like you're not here. I'm just gonna shuffle the way I shuffle. Yeah, man. So, that's another thing too, even though it's like soft rose petal, look at it fan. Okay, we're just gonna pick a card here, and I will read the entry from the guidebook. Yoink. Okay, what card do we have? Ooh, 6 of Wands. Okay. So let's see what the book has to say about 6 of Wands. Okay, so 6 of Wands. And again, we get the image here. So victory, success, public reward. And in reverse, you have excess pride, lack of recognition, and punishment. I don't necessarily read reversals in decks other than my classic RWS deck, but that is just my choice. So that is the deck. Guys, I can't tell you how special this deck feels, and how, again, I know I'm repeating myself 1,000 times over, but just how like wild and feral and important and empowering this deck feels to me. And I look forward to working with it for so long to come. I don't think it'll even be one that I share with people or read with for other people. I think this will definitely be a special deck for myself. But yeah, that is it. I hope you enjoyed this walkthrough. I hope you're just as obsessed with this deck as I am, because again, I just feel it's really special. Thank you for giving me the time and allowing me to entertain you whenever you're watching this. I send you guys all of the good vibes today, and I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. Until I see you next time, bye guys.